Good morning, good morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I've seen a few familiar faces already in the audience. Hi, Mandy. Hi. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's well this morning. It's a bit of a dreary Friday morning, but we're going to brighten it up for you. So anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Becky. I'm founder and CEO here at Reflect Digital. We're a performance marketing agency, and we're here to unleash your potential. So we combine behavioural science with digital marketing and customer journey to help you get more out of your marketing than others can help you achieve. So hopefully everyone's got their brunch boxes. Thank you so much, Erin, for sending those out. If you've already eaten it, that's cool. If you haven't, you can tuck in, or if you're saving it for the weekend, that's absolutely fine as well. But hopefully you've enjoyed those. I want today to be as interactive as possible. So after the session, we're going to be doing Q&A, where if you'd like to come off mute and talk to us, you definitely can. But for now, if you could stay muted and flip your view so that you're on speaker view, that means you'll get to see slides and Gary as he's talking us through. So today we're talking about the future of search is video. Now, some of these stats blow my mind, so I thought I'd blow yours as well, because this does my head in. So TikTok has got over 1 billion active monthly users, over 1 billion. And the average user spends 52 minutes a day on the app. That's crazy, isn't it? And that is where some people are starting their search journey. 47% of all global users are on YouTube every single month, and over 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single minute. That one blows my mind in particular. So if you're not creating it, somebody else is. So today we have got Gary with us. So Gary is our creative director, and he heads up all of our content creation arm here at Reflect. So he ensures that all objectives are taken care of when creating concepts and delivering shoots. And that can be across video, photo, audio, and live streaming like we're doing today. His background, so he spent over the last 10 years as a creative director in multiple agencies. On average, he makes 1,000 videos a year. That's absolutely mad. So if you can think of it, he's probably already done it and got ideas around it. He is an ideas machine as well, so he just absolutely throws them out constantly. Before being a creative director, he worked in corporate sales for 10 years, so a very different environment. But his passion is to help businesses grow using content, and he sees success of video when clients see success. So I am going to hand over to Gary now.
Thanks very much, Becky. Hi, everyone. Like Becky said, it was a lovely intro. My name's Gary. I am the creative director here at Reflect Digital. We're doing the future of search is video. It's going to be jam-packed, and this is what we're going to be talking about. So I'll cover off who I am and why I'm allowed to stand here talking in front of you lovely people. We're going to go through why video content, as to why you should be doing it and why you're not doing it, some of the challenges. Then we'll look at some trends, how to strategize and create. So if you don't have a video content strategy, I'm going to give you a fail-safe concept on how to deliver that. And then, like Becky said, we're going to open up to Q&A, maybe ask for a little bit of feedback as well. So let's get cracking, right? So who is Gary? Not that person in that slide. Like Becky said, I spent the last 10 years in agency land. What I class myself is an introvert pretending to be an extrovert, right? I think the terminology is ambivert. And what that means is I hate people. And well, actually, this is great because there's hardly anybody in the room right now. There's obviously loads of people at home watching the show. But when I'm out networking, I really struggle. And then when I go home, I kind of cry in the shower because my social battery is empty. But I do it for the sake of career progression and for the business. I'm out there putting on the Gary show, right? Also, like Becky said, I spent 10 years in other agencies as well. And what had happened in 2022 is I had a mental health breakdown. And over the course of months from there, I realized that actually it was me running the business, and over the 10 years of a compounded stress, made me have that mental breakdown. And so I closed that agency because I wanted to become the creative director I always knew I could be. And that's when Becky took me under her wing. And now I'm fully a creative director. And what that allows me to do, and what the muscle that I've allowed to kind of increase, is my ability to ideate. So Nido, if you're in the room there, you've obviously been in a meeting with me, right? My speed of ideation is really quick. I can often come up with ideas on the fly. I'm a nightmare in meetings. it's like loads of birds, like a murmuration, right? Loads of birds flying out of my head, and it's the other people around me that need to grab those birds, put them in a cage, and train them. But yes, if ever you need to have like a creative ideation session, I'm definitely there. Just don't give me a double espresso, right? So why video content? These are reasons why you should be creating video. Basically, I've put it down into 3 pillars as to why, or 3 drivers as to why the growth of video is happening, why there's been such an increase, and there will always be an increase of video content creation. Technology, audience, and human first. So from a technology perspective, this seems really obvious, but we never really talk about it, but the increase in public Wi-Fi over the last 5 years, and 5G and broadband speeds, like we're able to consume data and content on the go, high quality editorial 4K footage on your mobile phone at a bus stop. Like we were never able to do that ages ago. So that's given creators, businesses, and anybody who wants to create content, the ability to create whatever they want with whatever quality, and people can consume wherever they are. It's amazing. It also, from an audience perspective, it allows you to translate something that is complex into something that is simple, right? If you think about, if you're a tech company and you've got like a 5-page fact sheet or data sheet as a PDF, sometimes that's really difficult for people to understand, especially if they don't know the product even a little bit. If you can create a 2-minute video across the information of that fact sheet, then you're able to really translate that in such a human way. It's really approachable. And then people are lazy, right? No one likes to read that 5-page PDF. Let's not kid ourselves. And blogs are for bots. So I think if you are going to write a blog, why not record that blog, you saying that blog out loud as a video? Because people just want to press play, sit back while they eat their brunch. So, and lastly, from a human first perspective, because we're all about human first here, the Human First Collective, it's all about real stories and authenticity. I think people are, or Gen Z really want authenticity. They're like the new buying group coming up through the ranks, right? And I think authenticity really comes through when you start putting people first in your video content, and actually telling real stories. If you look at my Instagram, not my Instagram, my LinkedIn, don't look at my Instagram. If you go to my LinkedIn, I did a post today about authenticity and telling real stories and how that's really resonated with my community. And I've managed to I just broke the 1 million impressions mark in 365 days. Plus 6,000 followers, and I've put that down to real stories and authenticity, because I am the same person I am right now, as opposed to what I write on a LinkedIn post, as opposed to how I am in front of my kids. I mean, I don't do this in front of my kids, that'd be boring, but what's really tough is that there's only 3 people in the real life audience, so what I'm imagining is all 50 plus people that are on the Zoom call are all laughing at all these jokes. So and if I'm going to add to a few stats that Becky gave us. So this is reasons as to why you should be doing video content. So 50% of users that are looking to purchase something are looking for video content. If you haven't got video as part of your product, whether it's service, property, sheds, travel, hi Tui, you've definitely got to have video, because otherwise you're going to alienate 50% of your audience. You are 53 times more likely to be on the front page of Google. We all want to be on the front page. I think there's an update on Google search listings, and now they're going to start to do video content. We've probably started to see videos kind of be at the top of the page, because they all know that's an increasing medium that everyone's watching. So you really need to think about your keywords and your SEO strategy for descriptions in your YouTube video content, which I'll cover off in a little bit later. And then viewers retain 95% of the info in comparison to 10% if they read it. So if you're not doing video content, where the hell you at? So they are the stats. Oh, and this is kind of some traditional marketing for you. I'm never a fan of talking about funnels and traditional marketing, but it's super important. I let other people talk about that. As a creative director, I just play with the crayons. But video content in particular sits at every stage of the funnel. You've got this kind of brand awareness stage, all the top of funnel organic stuff, dancing on TikTok. That's great. All the way down to kind of retention and advocacy. And I think a really good example of kind of the stage one before, the buying and inquiring, I feel, and you probably agree with me, is that when there's a video in amongst all of the product photos on Amazon, you are definitely more inclined to purchase that product, or at least put it on your wish list. because you've seen a video of it. You've seen kind of like the perspective of it. Someone's done not a box opening, we did this earlier, an unopening video, whatever it might be, unboxing video. There we go. God, I knew I'd get there. So what's good about video is that you can position yourself at every part of the funnel, as well as different types of content. So you don't have to keep talking about yourself. And again, I'll talk about that later. And here's a few stats, because we love stats, that are directly from TikTok. So 86% of TikTok users agree that they can find their type of content on TikTok. Now, you're obviously seeing in the news that TikTok is like the new search engine, right? It's overtaking Google. I think we can all agree that Google's not going anywhere. Gen Zers, there are certain generations that go certain places, right? Boomers are on Facey, right? But I think Gen Zers are using TikTok to search for stuff proactively. And that is because Google's not going anywhere, but the search functionality for TikTok is absolutely outstanding. If you saw a video 6 weeks ago on TikTok, or if you wanted to search for a product, you could put in a very easy search term into TikTok and you'll find that video straight away. If you're into Reels on Instagram, you'll be hard pushed to actually find that video. So the search functionality in TikTok is outstanding. So if you're not on TikTok, do it, absolutely do it, because that's where a large buying group are and they want to find your product on TikTok. But you've got to ensure that you're doing the right type of content. It needs to be exclusive content on TikTok. So give me a shout if you ever want to talk TikTok. And then 60% of Gen Z TikTok users have bought a product because they saw it on TikTok in the past year. So you can pretty much guarantee, if you're looking at the slide right now, that girl there definitely has a Stanley Cup, right? And she probably bought it because she saw a video on TikTok. Poor Ellen, she doesn't have a Stanley Cup, I joke. But, I think there is definitely an e-commerce angle for TikTok and video content to be able to put products in people's hands and take a video of that as well. Okay, cool. So challenges. This is why you're not doing video content. And a lot of it is kind of pushback from the stakeholders. So I'll tell you about stakeholder management shortly. So I've put it as 4 areas as to why you're not creating video content. You want to, but these are some of the hurdles, the 4 key hurdles. So time, expertise, equipment, and ideation. So from a time perspective, yeah, if you saw my calendar, we're all really time poor, right? We've got no time at all. And there's also this perception that video content takes ages to create. It's a myth, we can create 50 videos in a day. So there is a stumbling block as to terms of time, but you also want to focus on like your core business, right? If you are a marketing manager, you've got 10 other disciplines that you need to manage. You don't want to have to, get a bunch of videographers in and spend your time dealing with briefs and stuff like that. So yes, time poor, definitely talk to an agency to try and help with your video content creation. Expertise. Now this is kind of twofold, right? I think there's expertise in terms of people behind the camera, like press and record, framing it up properly, audio, design, lighting, all of that stuff, color grading, gosh, huge. But there's also the expertise of people in front of the camera. I think there's a lot of people in a lot of organizations, in particular professional services, where they're really not keen on being in front of camera. There's, as soon as the red light comes on, everyone gets scared and runs away. So there's a challenge there to get people in front of the camera. We're obviously very people first, and I truly believe that you need to have real humans, not animation, in your video content, because people buy from people, right? So expertise is absolutely important. Equipment, goodness. Just in this setup alone, right? We've got 2 cameras that are worth £2,000. We've got 3 laptops that are probably £3,000 each. A bunch of lenses. We've got software that we pay £300 a month for. Then there's like yearly salary for just one person. Just to create 1 video a day. That is so much cash. And I think there's people overlook, or the stumbling block for them is the capex around video content infrastructure when you're putting it into a business. We can obviously handle 3 shoots in a single day, let alone 3 videos. But I think there is a really considerable cost if you want to create good content. You can obviously create with a mobile phone, the 4K camera that you've got in your pocket right now, and I can definitely help with that, and you definitely should include that in your video content strategy. But to do kind of the glossy editorial stuff, or the stuff that really converts, there's a lot of cash up front, right? And no one likes that. And ideation, this is the biggie. What I worry about is that, being creative is something that you're born with. I truly believe that. I don't think you can learn to be creative. And I think there's not a lot of people in every organization that can be creative. So you need to go out into your business and find people that are creative. They often struggle with mental health, to tell you the truth. Mozart did this thing where he had this creative genius, and that creative genius was like a gremlin that lived in his walls of his house. And every time that he was creative, that in his mind, he felt that gremlin would come out and give him all of these creative ideas. So I know it's completely off topic, but what you need is that creative element, and that's the key part to any type of content, is the ideation side, and not everyone can do it. That's a really rare skill. And then quantity over quality. It's both. It's not one over the other. No one at the moment is doing enough video content. No one is. Even like the biggest of businesses are making enough video content across all platforms. And you need to have a mix, like I mentioned earlier. You need to have a mix of both raw and editorial, because people want to see the dirty, raw behind the scenes, as well as I'm investing lots of money into your product. It needs to look quality, quote unquote. And then from a stakeholder management perspective, this is a big one for me that I've really recently come to love, is that when I wanted to create video content, when any creative in any of your businesses want to go and create video content, they just want to create a video, right? They're just like, why should I create that video? Oh, we don't know why, we just want to make it. So now what we get to do is look at the science-backed data and then create the content off the back of that data. So we actually say, this is the actual reason when we go out and do workshops and surveys and stuff. This is the reason as to why we're creating the video content, because we know it works because of the science-backed data. And it allows me to go out and create whatever video content I want, because I get to translate all of that data into fluffy videos, which is exciting. Cool, and then the last few reasons that you usually get pushback from the SLT. Your CFO is definitely going to say it's too expensive. And I think what people overlook is, yeah, sweet, you might have 20K budget on video content for this year, but those videos will last you 2 to 3 years. So in reality, it's only a $5,000 budget each year over 3 years. So I think, you make this evergreen content that can last forever, right? Especially animation. What it can do, I think, is, fashion. It makes a video look dated. Particularly if you go back through older videos, I think it's the width of the eyebrow that you need to look at to show you how old the video is. But yeah, your video content lasts you more than 1 year. So that budget effectively lasts you more than 1 year as well. It's too boring. There are no boring businesses, only boring content. I'll give you an example. I've put here for Ardex, right? I don't know if anyone in the audience knows Ardex, but they're a flooring company, right? They're massive, a £1 billion company, and they make like cement and glue. Like, it's really not that exciting, right? It's very difficult to create exciting content for a boring business. So what we did is we came up with an idea called the Poets Day podcast. Piss off early tomorrow, Saturday. Just like today. And basically what it was is that it was hosted by myself, a podcast where I interviewed contractors, like floor laying contractors, about how they got into the business, a funny story, would they recommend it to other people, that kind of stuff, 20 minutes. And what that was almost like a little radio show that was personalized for their prospects. And we positioned it as if the prospects were other contractors that didn't use Ardex products, sitting in their van on the way to their next job. They were able to play a 20-minute story to listen about Joe Blogs Down the Road, Flora Limited, and how they got into the business and how they get leads and stuff. So that was really exciting, 20 minutes worth of content, really easy to do over Zoom, and yeah, it could have been national, or it was national, right? So that is a good example of creating exciting, engaging content, and loads of it. I'll give you a tip later about that, on effectively a boring business. And then it's too disruptive, right? No one wants two hairy guys to walk into their office and start distracting all the ladies, right? What we do is content days. We go in there, it's a very small team, or what happens when creating content, so I don't mean to sell. What happens when creating content, it's not like it's a full production and there's like 10 people, a producer, an audio person. People tend to try and have just 2 people come to the office, but really we're there for 1 day and we can create 6 months worth of content. People can create 6 months worth of content in a single day. Even if you do it yourself with a mobile phone, just book out a boardroom, get an itinerary, book people's time in their calendar, smash out 50 interviews. That's 1 a week for the next 12 months, all smashed out in a single day. and then I'm too scared. So, like I said, as soon as that red light comes on, people get scared, they stutter, like, oh, and also you might have a face for radio. So what you can do is create audio-only podcasts. You can record it on video, and whenever it cuts to the guest, let's say, you can create a little short-form video content from there. But if your person doesn't want to be on video, just tell them, just put a bit of tape over the red light. Just lie to them. No, make audio-only podcasts, because it's all about content as well, right? Okay, trends. Hope everyone's enjoying their brunch. Obviously, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Gary Gumbleton. I know I sound like a hobbit, but there is only one of me, so I'll be top of the list. Classic SEO. But trends for 2024. So I've been a bit of a basic bish here, and I've put Stephen Bartlett, Ben Francis, and Gary V as examples of employee-generated content. There are lots of other people that are doing it, but I just thought I'd put some famous faces on there. But I believe that EGC, employee-generated content, we started to see it already as a trend for 2024. And I think, as a classic example, right, is Cisco are training all 80,000 staff to be LinkedIn influencers, which is unbelievable. Imagine, let's just say all 80,000 staff posted once a week and they reached 1,000 people each. Like the organic reach and the messenger effect that comes from that, and just purely the personal branding exercise is absolutely huge. Like any other tech company like Cisco should be worried, because that is a massive opportunity. There are not enough, every social platform, Insta, TikTok, whatever, there are enough content creators, right? There's enough people taking selfies on those platforms. There are not enough content creators on LinkedIn. It's a massive opportunity. So there's obviously a few reasons as to why I believe EGC is going to trend really heavily. There's a human connection. Obviously, people buy from people. You've got better organic reach, like I mentioned. The pure volume of content. If you followed a business on LinkedIn and they posted like every day, you'd unfollow that quicker than you can unfollow anything else. But if it was a person, you're more than happy to kind of see 2 posts a day almost, right? So I think you're also able to talk about more topics. This is really important, where the business page generally should, only really talks about its people or its product. It should talk about more, but that's generally what happens. Whereas the person, they can really be personal. I can talk about my mental health, which I do quite heavily. I'm also type 2 diabetic. I talk about that. And that helps increase my organic reach and my personal brand. And what that allows me to do is get in front of more people, and then I get incoming leads. I think I even said in my post, in the last year, I've probably generated maybe £250,000 in leads alone, right? Just purely from posting once a day. So super important. As an example, Ben Francis, this is a screenshot, not an animated mobile phone screen, of Ben Francis' last 4 posts. And if you look at the slide now, you'll see, the bottom left-hand corner, 5,500 likes. When was the last time your business LinkedIn profile got 5,500 likes, right? Never going to happen. And I think in particular, that video there that you see bottom left-hand corner, that video was to kind of, it was really smart. It was to help stop the cancel culture. So the Gymshark's finance reporting, I think on Companies House got released to the public, and it's obviously loads of money, right? It's loads of profit, and you can get cancelled for that kind of stuff, right? Whereas I think he handled it really well. Ben handled it really well, as he went out on his personal page and addressed it straight away. I think he really addressed that issue personally and direct to his audience via video content, and stopped the cancel culture, because if he was cancelled, that's his £1 billion business gone, right? It wouldn't be a marketing live stream if I wasn't to mention AI, right? So let's talk about AI. So we are obviously, human first here at Reflect Digital. So I am under the opinion that I don't want to see AI output video content in people's video content. Because for a number of reasons. One is the branding, right? If you were to prompt an AI video generator and say, I would like a white middle-class male with a white t-shirt on walking down the road, then it will generate that video. But if you say put a beige trilby on him, then what it might do is put a beige trilby on, but it then might change the appearance of the person. So you don't actually have real direct control over every asset. So like the amends, if I was to then, let's say, send that video to client, the client's going to go, oh, can you just change this little thing? Can you make the logo bigger? I'm gonna struggle, right? And we want to get it. Everybody wants to get it right first time. I think time taken times an hourly rate is the biggest expense on any type of content. But what you can use it for, what I recommend you use it for, is storyboarding and stakeholder management, right? Your CFO, definitely not a creative. They are a walking spreadsheet. They want to see ones and zeros. They want to see something, right? So I think what you can do is think about what video you want to create. Turn those scenes into prompts, prompt the video generator, and make a AI-generated video storyboard that you can then show, say, this is an example of what we would like to make. And that will help stakeholder buy in because they've visually seen it already. Hopefully they won't say, well, just simply use that video, because that's not what you want to do. But when everyone zigs, you zag, right? I think you want to, the only way you're going to cut through the noise, one of my sayings is that the only way to guarantee success is to operate in a market that doesn't already exist. It's a bit like the blue ocean, red ocean stuff, right? I think you cut through the noise. Everyone else is going to be making AI video content. If you want to cut through the noise, put humans in your video, right? The mirror strategy, the mirror effect. If you are selling to a 25-year-old female, put a 25-year-old female in that video because they want to see themselves, quote unquote, in that video. And then lastly, the trend is emotional storytelling. And we've already kind of seen it by the big players. Like you look at the John Lewis Christmas adverts, right? I think that they're really trying to make you cry on your sofa over Christmas. And I think some brands are doing it really well. We will see now, we will see, I would like to see the hairdresser on the high street. You know, you look at, for example, some of the firms that we have in the audience right now that say TUI, I think rather than destination marketing, this is what Fuerteventura looks like. Actually tell me the story of when a guy proposed to a girl on their holiday up a hill in the south of France. That is an emotive story that you're going to connect with. And the product placement, Nice in the background, for example, is going to sell way more than you doing a montage of yachts in a harbour than the emotional, being proposed to. It's great for community building. There's also this full circle consumption, right, where we used to get home, watch Neighbours at 5 p.m. on a Friday or whatever, and then we would watch The Omnibus for 3 hours on a Sunday, hungover, eating burgers, and then we would binge watch it online. And now what we're doing is we're watching content online at a specific time. 7 p.m. on a Friday, our next episode will drop on YouTube, that kind of stuff, right? It's obviously relatable and approachable, and it's really memorable. If I was to show you a picture of a Coca-Cola bottle, you're not going to engage with it. If I tell you a story about a young boy saving up his money from his paper round to go and buy a cold bottle of Coke on a hot summer's day, you're going to remember that story, and Coke is positioned within that emotive story. And this is a good book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, that explains how to apply the classic story mechanism, which I think is on the next slide, to any business, right? And I think if you look through here on the slide, what you want to do is whenever creating video content or the copy on your website, it needs to follow, I believe, the emotional storytelling framework. So you start with the character. The character in this instance is your audience, the viewer, right? They have a problem, and you then position yourself as the guide who understands their fear and gives them a plan on how to solve their problem. That's what you are as a business, right? Then you call them to action, a CTA, classic, and that results in either a comedy or a tragedy. I mean, it's mostly a tragedy, right? But this seems like such a simple framework. If you read through the copy on your homepage right now, if it doesn't do this, maybe have a word with your copywriter. Okay, how to strategize and create. This is a biggie. So we're all going to send the link out to this recording. So I'm going to rush through it because there's a lot for me to talk about, and I do talk quite quickly. I have had a double espresso already. So we are going to send this recording out. We'll follow up with an email and the link and stuff, so you can kind of take pictures now if you wanted to. Definitely take a picture, tag me on LinkedIn. So this is how we create content strategy. So we're not just creatives with all the crayons and press and record. We position video content or businesses that create video content as media companies, right? TV companies. You look at, for example, BBC, right? The BBC have a whole bunch of channels, BBC One, BBC Two, and BBC Sport, right? each of those channels has different programming, right? You would see a program on BBC One that you wouldn't necessarily see on BBC Two. You'd also have different demographics, you know? So as a business, those channels you need to change into your objectives. So instead of BBC One, BBC Two, you would be raise brand awareness, sell more products. They're your business objectives. And then within that channel, just like the BBC, they might have Planet Earth, right? You would have a program or a season of content. So that season is obviously a bunch of videos that all relate to that objective. And then obviously within that season, you have an episode. And what that does is it allows you to create content with purpose. If you look at the example that I've put here, there might be an objective for businesses right now that want to show their audience that they are easy to work with. That's your objective. That's your first channel, right? I don't mean channels in terms of like channel marketing or Facebook or Instagram. This is an overall objective, right? So how easy it is to work with them as a business objective. Then what you do is you create a season of FAQs. If you haven't created any video content, FAQs are a great way to start because you've got 20 questions that you can interview somebody with. Then you've got 20, 30-second videos. That's 3 months worth of content, just without even trying hard, right? Anyway, so then there's a season of FAQs because they show how easy it is to work with you guys. And then one of those episodes is how to pay with Apple Pay. So what that does is I've created one episode that rolls into a season of videos that's all about a single topic, that then rolls into an objective. So every piece of video content you create always goes out with purpose. And what it allows you to do, if you look at then the channels in front of you and you go look at the seasons and then the episodes, you can see where you're lacking. If you've only got 10 episodes here for community involvement, but you've got 30 episodes for thought leadership, you need to focus on community involvement. So it's a really simple strategy, and it gives you so many options on how to create this content. And what I tend to do is when I make these channels, I actually name the channels, I name the seasons, not only for stakeholder buy-in, you know, let's say I call it BBC One, you know, it will give them the ability to say, oh, I understand that. But also the viewer, the audience member, know exactly what they are watching. It allows you to separate your messaging as well. You know, it's really, you know, to knock up a couple of logos, call the seasons specific things. Cool. And then a few, because we're all about human behavior, this is one of our big USPs. Anchoring, right? The first 29 seconds, sorry, that's a lie. 29-second videos are better than 31-second videos. You know, it's a bit like currency, right? We're kind of desensitized to £1.99. We believe £1.99 is £2. 100%, we're not idiots, right? When it comes to video content, because it's a relatively new medium in comparison to currency, we're still tricked as to 29 seconds rather than 31. So you want your videos ending in a 9, just like £1.99, because people, you'll see your engagement rate go up because people will believe they've got 29 seconds in their day. If you put 31, they go, oh God, I do not have 30 seconds. I don't have 30 seconds. The hook model. This is what I tried to say earlier. The first 5 seconds. So the first 5 seconds are super important. A lot of people fall into the trap of going, hey everybody, I just wanted to jump on here. My name's Gary. I am the creative director here at Reflect Digital. Those first 5 seconds, if they introduce themselves, bored, haven't got to the topic, we're lazy, I want you to tell me what I want to know straight away. So put up a title card, put up my name and business, my name and job title, and then I don't have to introduce myself and I can get straight to the topic. So the first 5 seconds, you know, other people will do this, it frustrates me. They put up a slide and then some text. Let's say they're interviewing people. They'll put the question up, you know, within the first 5 to 10 seconds, and an animated logo. Ugh, animated logo, slide of first question, 15 seconds, gone. You've lost everybody after that. And then the content cascade. This is a mega tip. I think we're towards the end now, actually. Now, this is if you struggle to create loads of video content, right? And I think I'm going to say a word, and you're all going to go, Gary, please, no one wants another one of those. But you need to create a podcast, right? Oh, God, I can hear you through Zoom. You go out and create a podcast, but not for listeners, right? No one cares if you were to create a podcast. You're going to get 3 listeners. What you need to do is actually use it as a sales tactic. So if I was to ring up the marketing director of Coca-Cola and say, I want to make your video content, they are going to turn around, laugh at me, and then put the phone down. But if I said, hey, marketing director, I'd love you to be on my podcast about food and beverage marketing strategy, they will bite my arm off. And at that point, I've then got the marketing director for Coca-Cola in the same room as me, having a conversation about them. What you want to do is write down your top 10 prospects and then invite those top 10 people as a podcast to talk about their industry. It's a bit like going on a date, right? If you talked about yourself all the time, you're not going to get laid. So what you need to do is get them talking about themselves. Anyway, when you create this podcast, you are then able to create a 30-minute video for YouTube, a 30-minute audio for Spotify and Apple Podcasts, a full transcription to turn into a blog, maybe 10 tweets off the back of that blog. You can then create 10 short-form video content episodes to act as trailers for people to go and watch the larger video that you embed on your website with the call to action to buy now, contact us. But then you also create another 10 videos to give your guest. And that allows them to share the content, you positioning them as a thought leader. It's a great selfless gift. But fundamentally, 1,000 pieces of content or 1,000 listens, it doesn't matter. What you've done is you've started a really good conversation, a really good relationship with your top 10 prospects, talking about them, and you've got them in the room rather than trying to cold call. So that's super important. It doesn't matter about how many people watch it. It's about how much money you make off the back of it. I mentioned about AI, and there's a lot of stuff that I can't be asked, particularly writing, and that's the bit that takes ages. So I would use, this is a bit of a tip, I would use AI, specifically ChatGPT, to write the copy for you. So, for example, if you need copywriting, do your keyword research, or even ask ChatGPT to do your keyword research. What you want to do is get that video uploaded to YouTube privately, let the transcript happen, so YouTube will then do your subtitling and transcripting for you. Then you get that link from YouTube, you chuck it into ChatGPT, and then ask it, say, oh, you are a professional copywriter for a marketing agency. Please write me a full description for this video based on the transcription that will help it go viral. Please put in chapters. Think about my keyword strategy that I'm uploading also. And it's done within 30 seconds. That is so good because I just want to press record and dance in front of a video on TikTok. I don't want to have to write 500 words about professional services talking about how I can improve my Excel management, whatever it is. So definitely use ChatGPT to do the boring stuff if you are a creative like me. That is it. Thanks very much. If you want to stay on the line, I think we are going to hand over to Becky.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Gary. That was amazing. I feel worn out watching you, though.
I'm a little bit worn out. Yeah.
So before we go to Q&A and to give you a tiny bit of time to think about your questions, we are going to jump to some feedback. So anyone that's been to one of our Brunch and Learns before, it's really important to us to get feedback because this helps us work out what content you want to see next and how we can best support you. So we're going to take 2 minutes. Chantel's going to pop the form in the chat. If you could just fill that in and give us some feedback, whilst you also think of questions, which you're very welcome to start popping in the chat as well. And then we'll come back and get some answers from Gary. Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving us your feedback. And we have had questions start to come in. So we're going to start with Tim from SEC. Thank you so much. Great question. So what cost-effective video tools do you recommend in terms of self-serve recording, editing, subtitle creation for thought leadership content?
Oh, that's a great idea. So I would definitely use an app called Opus Clip. I think it's opus.ai, something like that. What that allows you to do is record any video, 30 minutes long, whatever you want to do, over Zoom. Again, that's free, right? You can then upload that video. I don't think you even need to upload it. I think you can paste the link of your YouTube channel, of that YouTube video, into Opus Clip. And what it will do is it will use AI to create 10 plus short form pieces of video content. It will rank them on how viral it thinks it's going to be. It will give you a heading, it will give you a description, it will subtitle it for you, it will reframe a 16:9 to a 9:16, all within like 10 minutes. It's an absolutely outstanding app. So Opus Clip, 100%. Thought leadership, if you go to my LinkedIn page, as a featured section, I've put 50 Kickstarters on there, which is basically 50 questions for you to answer that will help you create more content, specifically for LinkedIn. But there's stuff like, do a fill in the blank, or I do a bingo. So let's play, it's a bit tongue in cheek, but let's do creative director bingo, where people mention characteristics of a stereotypical creative director. So definitely, I'm also reading a lot now as well. Again, the post on LinkedIn, Blink List. That's like 30 quid a year, super cheap. And what that does is it brings out key learnings from massive books like Stephen Bartlett's Star of a CEO or Blue Ocean book, right? And it gives you 20-minute rundown of a key learning. And I'm able to now think about that key learning and then turn that into a piece of content. I can do my own opinion on there, right? So Opus Clip, Blink List, and Zoom, you can create all of that content there. Or even you've got a 4K camera in your pocket right now. Massive tip for you, the difference between good video and shit video is audio. So invest 10 quid in a little microphone if you're going to create content yourself.
Lovely. Great answers there. So next question, and we're on to an AI-led question. So Lila, thank you for this question. So there's been a lot of people criticizing the use of ChatGPT when it comes to copywriting, saying obviously it's not original. What do you think about this? Is this something to ignore?
Don't ignore it. I think, yes, you're right. I think actually people will penalize you. I say people, Google, they will penalize you if it's like majority AI created content, for example. I think there is a website that is like checkmyai.com, whatever it might be. And what you're able to do is put your copy that you've created directly from ChatGPT, let's say, and put it into this website, and it will give you a rating on how much it thinks is written by a computer. By AI. So what I tend to do is use the AI copy as a Kickstarter, as a foundation. I'll change words if I think it's gone a bit overzealous on some, my vocab, even tone of voice. You can train it, obviously, in tone of voice. I think you, Becky, you have your own GPT on your tone of voice stuff. But I think, yes, get it to write the description, and then you rewrite that description. What it does do is it reduces the brain power in writing that initial one. But what it is good for is asking it to write the chapters, because it will automatically give you the right copy that will then create the hyperlinks to turn chapters into YouTube. So definitely don't copy paste, but do go and check your work in this Check My AI, whatever website it is. I'll find it and I'll post about it next week so people can see it.
Great answer. And completely on the creating your own GPT, it is really cool. So I've done that recently. You can go in there, you upload a ton of your own content so it can start to understand your tone of voice, how you write. And then I've been using that here and there to just help spark creating LinkedIn posts. I still then need to work on them, tweak them, make them a bit more me, but they're a lot more me than if I just asked ChatGPT off the bat to create me a post.
Absolutely. And what you can do is get, let's say, a previous post that you have personally written and get it to convert that post into a video script. And then you can, if you're not very good on camera, just read that script. It's super easy stuff, right?
Amazing. All the tips. Right, Heather Hornby, Hobbies. Nice to see you, Heather. So very traditional brand with some core customer groups, but we're struggling to find a new base of customers. Is there a tactic with video that you would suggest to either encourage new audiences or to actually assist in recruiting them?
Wow. I'd have to know who the audience that is underserved. But I think the way that you go against finding new audiences or go for new audiences is to not talk about yourself. I think again, I don't know what the product is, but I would assume what you want to be able to do is create, let's say, a TikTok or a short form reel that has your product in it, but not about your product. Let's say, for example, it could be a mental health podcast, right? I think if it was, Gen Zers, let's look at Duolingo. God, there's people that probably follow Duolingo that don't actually want to learn a language because their social is so great. They don't talk about themselves at all. Again, you look at Red Bull. If you look at the Red Bull's Instagram account, there is not one single Red Bull can. So I think the key thing to look at when trying to get in front of a new audience is to not talk to the current audiences about your own product. Talk about something else. Talk about your CEO. Talk about cooking. It could be anything, right? Because I won't necessarily follow an account if that product is not for me. But if they make, let's say, a mental health podcast, I might follow them and be in their audience, and then every now and then I'm going to see a sales post from them, but I'm really following them because of the mental health podcast. So I would start creating content, that top of funnel brand awareness stuff that's not about yourself to reach new audiences. But yeah, if you want to talk about that, because I don't know who the audience is and I don't know what the product is, but I can definitely help come up with some ideas if you slide into my DMs.
I think you'll love this one because that's Hornby.
Is that like trains and cars and stuff?
Yeah,
okay,
railways.
Cool.
Does that help? Does that give you a different steer?
It will help if you send me lots of toy trains and cars for my little boy. But who's called Garrison, actually, as in Gary's son. My wife loves it when I say that, so I thought I'd bring it out now. Yes, I think, yeah, man. Well, Thomas the Tank Engine. Why not make your own short form video, animated cartoon with trains on a track? Do silly little voiceovers. It could be, there's one on TikTok at the moment where he puts on a filter of, this is a bit more adult, puts on a filter of like an Excel spreadsheet and like a Teams icon, and they talk to each other. And it's jokes about the app's always crashing, or when you put an image into a Word doc, all the text flies about. And it's nothing to do with actually how good the product is. It's just funny content that you watch. But the brand awareness, the brand association is really good in there. So I would definitely do 30-second cartoons using toys in the office. So I could definitely do that for you. I'll get Garrison to do that.
Love that. Okay, so next question is Jess from Paramount Cruises. So how would you advise to stay on top of top trends when it comes to video content, specifically in the travel industry?
I can definitely make content on cruises. And I think the way to stay on trend is ask the people, I don't want to do surveys because that's boring, right? I think what you need to look at is when people are on the cruise, what content are they posting, in particular tagging you in whatever location, but what content are they consuming, what are they watching on the cruise as well? You need to position yourself in front of those people. And I think, again, I might have mentioned it about TUI and the proposal thing, rather than destination marketing, actually create content on a cruise. I think it's not about you anymore, not to offend. I think it's about the person. So emotional storytelling, I don't mean like hold me Jack, at the front of Titanic kind of stuff. But I think it's more, a family talking, having dinner or even just one little act, going to the cinema or whatever it might be. I think you've got to tell the story of the person to help with content creation rather than tell the story of the cruise ship. Because I don't want to engage with a cruise ship. I do want to engage with a story, and it's a large purchase. Like, cruises can be a luxury item, so I need to spend money and emotion to be able to get that purchase across the line. So you need to offer them value and emotion to gain a larger audience.
Gary is available for booking for cruises as well then, so
100%, yeah.
but do you know what, it's true. I did a talk the other week and I was talking about travel, and I put myself in like the daydreamer content for travel, because I'm always planning my next holiday. Even if I can't afford my next holiday, I'm planning my next holiday. But I'm also always thinking about the wonderful memories that I've created on holidays. So actually, if you bump into content on social where you're like, oh, we were there on that cruise, or we sat in that cinema, like it brings back this little moment of memory, and that you can't buy that. You can't. And then getting people to comment on it, share it. So making it, yeah, you're completely right.
Yeah, I think you're going to struggle. Obviously, sending me on a cruise ship. No one really wants to do that. Or filming people on their holiday. You don't want to have to discount the holiday or whatever. But when they get back, man, they'll have some stories. Bring them into your office, buy them lunch, sit them in front of a camera, and just say, "So, tell me a few things that happened on your holiday." That is absolute gold. Cost you nothing. Give them 5% off on the next holiday, whatever it might be, or free lunch. But invite people that have been on a cruise into your office and ask them some stories and create that. And actually, here's another mega tip. Get 2 cameras out. One does editorial, cool stuff. And then what we've done here is obviously we're recording this and we can cut this up that we're going to post over LinkedIn. Well, I'm also recording it on my mobile phone to have a different aesthetic. So it's a bit rawer. It's in portrait. It's a different angle. And it's another whole set of content that I can then post out over my socials by just adding 1 more camera. Super easy.
Clever stuff. Next question. So Marta from Country Choice. So Marta is a TikTok user and a content creator for her private account. From her own experience, she thinks B2C communication is really easy and engaging. However, the company she works for is B2B, and she finds it much more challenging to engage other businesses. Any thoughts on that from a B2B perspective?
Yes. Be confident that you can do B2B. And definitely as a business as well, rather than as a person. We're all humans, right? Yes, you are B2B, but we're human to human. I think what I would do is, I think we used to call it community engagement. Again, write those top 10 people you want to get in front of, and go comment on their content. You don't need to be you don't need to be creating all the time. I think you can engage with their content. Twice a week, go and look at their recent posts. Oh, I love this. Be contextual, make it specific. Then you'll start popping up, and then I would suggest looking at what content they create. So the prospects that you want to get in front of, look at the content that they are creating, and see what you can create off the back of that. Whether you might even want to assess what you think their challenges are. I know this is classic sales stuff, but think about what they might have as a challenge, and then you create a video that explains how to solve that challenge. It's like, what do you call it? Objection handling. If you speak to your salespeople, talk about objection handling, they will give you 20 objections as to why they shouldn't be buying your product. Make a video to stop them objecting. So a salesperson can send out a link and go, oh, I understand you think we're too expensive, but here's a video. And there's that messenger effect. It's not me trying to sell to you. It's someone else saying, actually, it's about value and what it's actually worth for you in terms of ROI ratio, whatever. So, yeah, B2B can be difficult. You've got to be brave. I think I would like to see a lot of businesses be more brave in terms of breaking the rules. Maybe a little bit of swearing, a little bit risque, break out the great brand guidelines, but that's a tougher sell internally, If you do want to break some rules and you want to be a bit risque, give me a shout, because I can definitely come up with some ideas. Just look at Thursday.com, right? They absolutely crushed it when doing their Thursday activations, Go and have a look at some, in particular, the girl naked in Trafalgar Square. Huge. The amount of press that got cost nothing. It cost her dignity, but it cost nothing, right?
Amazing. Right, we probably have time for 1, maybe 2 more questions.
Okay,
so,
2 more.
We'll do 2 more. Okay, so Neris, I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I haven't, but from Roderick Dental Partners. So they're working on a recruitment campaign. So using current employees is something they really want to focus on. However, getting video content from people around the business is a big problem for us. We're remote, so it's not always easy to get our employees in front of them, plus the fact nobody wants to be on video or wants to send us videos of themselves. Any tips on how to overcome this?
Yes, do another recruitment drive. No, I think, again, audio only podcasts, I think that's good. I think sometimes we need to find out the reason as to why they don't want to be on video. I think maybe they don't want to be on video talking about dentistry. They might have hobbies outside of work, obviously, right? They probably don't do dentistry on the side. I think, let's say, for example, a couple of people play golf, or there are some keen gardeners or whatever. They might be more inclined to talk or be on camera about something they really love, not that they don't love teeth, but something that's a hobby that's not about their business, get them feeling comfortable. One skill that we have, in particular Chris Mail, our head of video, we're we have the ability to get the best out of people. So if they do get in front of the camera, we will talk to them for a quarter of an hour if we feel that they're struggling before we even press record. And even then, when we do press record, we will chat to them for another half an hour, but only use like 30 seconds, only use the bangers. So they can talk and babble and stutter and swear, and then we can cut all of that shit out and then make a 30-second video out of that. But I would, again, I keep banging on about it, create content that's not about you. You know, I think everybody needs to go to the dentist. So you need to think about content that is in your audience, right? You can even play it. Well, I actually went to the dentist. Actually, when people say they don't like the dentist, what they mean is they don't like the hygienist. I went to the hygienist the other day, and they played the radio in the background. I bet they don't pay a license fee to play that audio. What you can do is just play your own podcasts, right? Record a little podcast in the background of that person that's sitting there talking about regular hygienist appointments, for example, as to why you should. Because that's like subliminal. Whilst I'm there, I should have booked another one 6 months later, but I didn't. If I got that reinforced through the messenger effect, having the podcast playing whilst they're drilling away at my teeth, then I might have actually booked that second 6 month appointment. So podcasts, audio only, and think about topics that your staff might actually want to talk about in their own environment, because that kind of content is also being consumed by all of your audience as well, right?
Also, I think once you can get one ambassador, it's easier to get more, because they start to go, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. Oh, I've seen what so-and-so's done. Like, it doesn't feel as scary. So I think that definitely helps. And if you've got, for example, a team day or something, if you're bringing people together, use that as an opportunity to create as many videos as you possibly can, because they will be better if you can get professionals in to film it rather than getting them to do it on their laptops at home.
Absolutely.
So we are going to be out of time. So,
okay.
And that was the last question from the audience anyway. So you're saved from my questions. Okay,
good. Phew. Well, thanks very much, everybody, for coming along.
Yes.
Like I said, add me on LinkedIn. Got any questions, slide in my DMs. I'm more than happy to kind of bounce ideas around. But yeah, thanks very much for coming along.
Definitely. A massive thank you from me to Gary. That was brilliant. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to looking through all of your feedback. Chantel is going to make sure, oh no, actually, we're going to put this in the follow-ups. We've got our next event booked already. So 23rd of May, another Brunch and Learn. We've got Lottie, our head of paid, who's talking about leveraging behavioural science within your programmatic strategy, which programmatic is always a hot topic. People feel like they don't know enough about it. So she'll kind of uncover that and how we use behavioural science with that. So one not to miss, and we'll make sure the link goes out when we send the follow-ups. So follow-ups will come out early next week. We'll have a link to the recording, link to the slides, link to this, and feedback in case you didn't do it in your 2 minutes, but I hope you did. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend, and we'll catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.